Hey Dan, can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. How you doing? You hear me?
Hello?
Hey, yeah, I hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Right. Yep. Uh, uh, I'm unmuted. Huh.
All right, thanks. Just
Yep.
walking.
Hello.
Hello.
I believe I'm going to be chairing today, Brian.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Great.
Hi.
Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Brian, I'm showing 1 o'clock. Do we have quorum? You're on mute.
Yes, we do have quorum.
Okay. I think we can get started. Welcome everyone to the August 20th meeting of the Montachusett Metropolitan Planning Organization. Brian, could you please call the roll?
Sure, and I'm calling every member that I can see present. We have from Mass DOT representing Secretary and CEO Montachusett Nut, Derek Schuster.
Here.
Mass DOT representing Highway Division Administrator Jonathan Gulliver, Ian Sullivan.
Here.
From Leominster, Mark Piamarini.
Here.
From MRPC, Glenn Eaton.
Here.
From Mart, Angela Volk. Looks like you're on mute, Angela, but I can see
Yeah,
you.
here.
From Subregion 2, Abby Arpano.
Here.
And from Subregion 3, we have Glenn McLeod.
Also here.
All right, we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. The next item on today's agenda is public comments. Do we have any members from the public wishing to make comments at this time? If so, please use the raise hand feature. I'm not seeing any hands raised, but if today anyone from the public joins the MPO meeting and wishes to make comment, please just use the raise hand feature and the chair will call on you. Next item on today's agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from June 18th. Could I please have a motion and second to approve the minutes?
So moved, Dan Sullivan.
Second, Abby Arpano.
Thank you, Ann and Abby. Do we have any recommended revisions, changes, or comments on the minutes? Hearing none. Brian, please call the roll.
Eric Schuster, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ann Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
Angela Volk, Mart.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And Glenn McLeod, Subregion 3.
I'd abstain.
Okay,
All right.
it does pass with a quorum, so thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next item on today's agenda, I believe, is the federal fiscal year 2025 to 2029 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. I don't believe we have any proposed amendments or adjustments at this time. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep. This is a standing item, if anything comes up, but yeah, I don't believe we have anything in this region.
Okay. And then next we have Safe Streets for All, also known as SS4A. I believe we have a presentation on the draft safety action plan for the Montachusett region.
Yep, and I'll take this. Many of you are aware of the safety action plan staff's been putting together over the last year and a half or so. This is through the Federal Highway Administration Safe Streets for All program. MRPC received a grant to develop a safety action plan for the Montachusett region back in December of 2023. And since that time, we've been working towards drafting this plan. Basically, the Safe Streets for All program, the premise of it is to work towards Vision Zero. Vision Zero is zero fatalities and incapacitating injuries on the roadways. So that's the premise of this program. It's a safety plan. Essentially, what we'll achieve by having this plan is all the projects that we recommend within will be qualified for federal funding through Federal Highway Safe Streets for All program. So this is essentially federal investments above and beyond what we're used to seeing in our region, say through the TIP, for example. This is an extra pot of funds we'll be able to access once we have this plan in place. So ultimately today, I'll go over kind of what's in the plan, how we came to the conclusions that we did, and I'll be looking for a motion to send this out for a public comment period. As we typically do after the comment period, we'll come back, discuss the comments with the MPO, and vote to endorse this plan, thus qualifying all the projects within for funding. So I'll just get into it. Basically, at the outset of this whole process, back in December of 23, we engaged a consultant to assist us in this process. That was WSP International. So we've been working closely with them throughout the process. You'll see their logo on some of these slides. And what I'll do is I think it's best just to go chapter by chapter and give a brief summary of each, just to give a flavor of how we came to the conclusions that we came to. It's a large document. There's a lot of analysis that went into it, a lot of public outreach that went into it, and ultimately there's just a lot to go into it. So I encourage everyone, if it is sent out for public comment, to go through it. It's actually quite interesting. And again, we hope that it has some serious benefits for the region moving forward. So chapter 1 is more or less an executive summary. You know, we detail every aspect of the plan, the purpose of it. Chapter 2, background on the program. Basically, the Safe Streets for All program, as I mentioned, is working towards what's called Vision Zero. It's a safety program. So we're working on zero fatalities and incapacitating injuries on the roads. Chapter 3, basically this is a synopsis of current research and best practices to achieve these numbers. The plan is heavily informed by tools from federal highway and other resources. So we document that. This is basically a literature review in chapter 3. There's a lot of background details. Another main aspect of it is public outreach. So that's basically chapter 4 is our public outreach chapter. We document what we did. In our region, there's a few thousand miles of roadways. So when we're trying to target locations to suggest improvements, it's tough to get a handle on it just by data analysis alone. So we relied on public engagement. We formed a Vision Zero Action Committee at the outset of this. We've been reviewing methodology with them throughout the process. We had our last meeting with this group last week. Some of you served on that committee, so thank you for that. We implemented a public survey, and our consultant WSP was instrumental in the public outreach portion. You may have seen them tabling at a number of events throughout the region last fall, also at places like grocery stores and libraries. We've been promoting this public survey. A lot of you took it, so thank you. We rely on local information for these projects. Another portion of it was public meetings. We had a number of them throughout the process. Our last one was back in June. Heavy public outreach piece of this whole program. And then we get into the nuts and bolts of the analysis in chapter 5. This is where we detail the crash analysis we looked at. We looked at 10 and 5-year windows. Obviously, we had that COVID in there that affects all these numbers in 2020 and 2021 and thereafter for a bit. But we looked at every crash trend you can think of in the region. You can see some of those listed here. And this is an effort to let that historical crash data to inform where the locations that historically have safety issues. So from this analysis, we come up with we collectively call the high injury network of roads in the Montachusett region. So historical crash analysis ends up with the high injury network. We take it a step further. In chapter 6, we know that safety issues exist throughout the region, even if it doesn't show up in crash analysis. So we rely on proven predictive type of measures to determine locations where to suggest projects. Part of this is from the public survey and public input and information from the VZAC and our meetings with municipal officials, but also proven demographic factors that go into this that essentially act as predictive measures to look into to determine where we can likely expect safety incidents to occur and crashes in the future. So from this analysis in chapter 6, we come up with what we call the high risk network. So you have the high injury network, which is informed by historical crash trends, and high risk network, which is a predictive measure. These two collectively, we sort of mix in chapter 7 to determine which locations we're suggesting improvements within this plan. Again, all these improvements will be qualified for federal funds through this program. Chapter 8 details a little bit more the methodology that we used. Again, it's interesting to a lot of people. We feel really good about how it came out. We like the process that we used. We were well informed by the literature review and also consultation with public officials. Also in this chapter, we look into proven safety countermeasures at these locations. And this is informed by federal highway guidance. The point of this program is really to come up with low-cost solutions to really make a dent into these numbers. Chapter 9 explains a little bit further in detail the high injury and high risk networks. And another portion of this program is we're required to prioritize these projects that we come up with. So what we decided to do was to come up with a cost benefit type of priority system. Essentially, as I mentioned, the point is to achieve the largest safety benefit per cost per project. So we detail this methodology a little bit in chapter 9. So we have sort of the targeted locations based on the predictive measures in the high-risk network and the proven historical crash issues in the high injury network. But there's another piece in this on the effort to achieve Vision Zero is in Chapter 10 is basically, this is a policy piece. If you remember back in February, the MPO endorsed a Vision Zero policy statement. I mentioned the vision, what Vision Zero is working towards zero fatalities and incapacitating injuries. In our policy statement, if you remember back in February, we are committing to the goal of a 70% reduction of fatalities and incapacitating injuries on the road network. We felt like that was way more realistic. We want an achievable goal. So we made that statement. We'll carry that forward. Another portion of this policy piece is MPO staff and MRPC. We're committed to continuing on this data analysis that we developed to inform this plan. In terms of crash statistics, predictive measures, and measuring those trends in the future. We'll carry that obligation in our long-range planning documents. So our regional transportation plan, for example. So that's an important part of determining whether we're working towards our goal of Vision Zero. So probably what's of most interest to everybody are the prioritized projects that we came up with. Again, informed by all this analysis. Unfortunately, under this program, not every road qualifies for shovel in the dirt improvements. So in our analysis of the high injury and high risk networks, there are a number of state-owned facilities, state jurisdiction roadways in a region which safety issues clearly presented themselves. Those don't qualify under this program for capital improvements. However, they do qualify for what's called road safety audits. So we make a number of suggestions at these locations for road safety audits. Essentially, this is a way to go a step further and try to determine what measures can be taken to improve safety at these locations. The capital improvements are on town jurisdiction roadways. So again, all the projects that we suggest will be qualified once we have this plan in place. I mentioned the rankings. A disclaimer from the rankings. Again, it's a requirement of the program to rank these. However, it's important to note that whether your community has the #1 ranked project in the region or the last, it doesn't matter. They're all equally applicable to apply for funds under this program. And staff, obviously, we put these lists together. We'll stand behind any project that any community wishes to pursue. Again, we're trying to achieve our goals under Vision Zero. So that's the whole premise. One more thing to consider, just to go a little bit step further on how we determine these rankings. I mentioned we chose to pursue a cost benefit analysis to rank these. Essentially, what we did was we took the capital costs of the projects we're suggesting, and we divided them by the assumed benefit costs of the effects of such a project. So to do this, we relied on some federal highway tools that were available to us to determine what the likelihood of crash reduction at each location by implementing the countermeasures that we suggest would achieve. Also, each crash is associated with an average cost. In other words, an injury crash, for example, is associated with a dollar cost. And the inputs to that are insurance payouts, police details, property damage, road damage, among other things. So we use that average cost and applied the assumed value of crash reduction to these locations, while also considering the cost to build the project to come up with this cost benefit analysis. It's actually quite interesting. Again, it's detailed very well in the plan, so I'd encourage you to look into that. Regardless of that, here's what we ended up with. First off, the road safety audits. Again, these are at state owned facilities. They're not eligible for shovel in the dirt improvements. But we felt that there was a need to highlight these. If something could be done, it would help us achieve our goals. Um, and then the capital projects, these are all on local jurisdiction roads, so municipal owned roadways. Um, we have over 50 of them that we identified. Again, we targeted these locations based on our analysis and feedback from the communities. Another thing that we did in the spring was we had a number of one-on-ones with municipal officials. We wanted to make sure this was sensitive to the context of the community, and if they felt comfortable pursuing such improvements. That some communities don't like speed bumps, for example. We wanted to make sure that we didn't suggest anything that would be something that the town wasn't comfortable with. So a lot of our most recent work was going over that with each community. Um, I can take, for example, the first project on our list here. Again, this is the highest benefit cost ratio that we came up with. It was an intersection in Townsend, Wallace Hill Road, Townsend Road, and Highland Street. We recommend speed feedback signs, retroreflective pavement markings, and some low-cost countermeasures at the stop-controlled intersections at this location. We assume an estimated capital cost of such improvements to be about $100,000. Based on the tools available to us from federal highway and current engineering standards, we can assume a 30% reduction of crashes at this location by implementing such improvements. From that, we go a step further. We look at the estimated crash reduction social benefit. This is the dollar amount tied to crashes on an average value at each location. So over the 20-year lifespan of this facility, we assume roughly $17 million estimated crash reduction social benefit. So we take the estimated capital cost of $100,000 divided by the social benefit of $17 million and come up with our benefit cost ratio, which in this case is 171. Again, this is the ranking that we're required to have. We chose the cost benefit analysis, but all these projects are just as qualified as any other ones. It runs the gamut. Again, these are mostly low cost improvements. They run anywhere from 25,000 to 500,000. They're all on locally maintained and jurisdiction roadways in the region. We've reviewed these with municipal officials and those within the know. And again, the first step in this is our data analysis that informs us. So I apologize. It's tough to read on the screen here. I encourage you to open up the handout within the handout folder and zoom in. All communities are reflected. They'll all have a chance to pursue these funds. And basically, this is the result of our safety action plan. One more thing I wanted to mention on this piece. So after this is endorsed by the MPO, this qualifies all these projects. There's not a step that each community has to go further to, go and get into policies or anything like that. There's no buy-in per se. By virtue of having this endorsed region-wide, all these projects would qualify into this program. However, MRPC and MPO staff, our role will change a little bit once this is through that door. We don't own any of these facilities. We have no jurisdiction on them, so it's up to the communities to pursue these funds. We'll carry the policy piece with us. We'll be crunching the numbers, determining where the trend is bringing us, and trying to achieve Vision Zero in the background. But it's up to municipalities to pursue these funds. One thing that we are adept with is, we're up to date on these federal funding opportunities, especially as it relates to Federal Highway Administration. So the next time they issue a funding opportunity on this program, which by the way, we expect in the spring, we'll make sure to put together a package for each community to kind of guide them on exactly what needs to happen to achieve these projects. So we're committed. We made the commitment as an MPO back in February to work towards this goal of Vision Zero in the region. This is an important piece, and by virtue of having this plan in place, all these projects will be qualified. So hopefully we can see some physical improvements soon. That being said, it's a large document. We feel great about it. We'd like to put it off for public comment. Ultimately, come back and review the comments as we typically do and endorse this so all these projects will qualify in our region. So that's what we're asking for. I'm happy to answer any questions, but ultimately we're looking for a motion to put this out for a public comment period.
Thank you very much, Brian. And that was a very comprehensive and still great summary on the plans work. So good work. I actually had a comment before we take questions or comments or action from other board members. For the RSA locations you mentioned are on state roadways, does the plan identify whether or not there are any initiated projects via MAPID or projects assigned for any of these locations?
Yeah, we did a comprehensive review of basically projects initiated through the tip, projects that a municipality might have, implemented low cost measures in the short term. So wanted to make sure that we weren't sort of like doubling up on those. So yeah, we did look into these in a number of different ways.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought it would be good to track that in case there is design actively happening for some of these places with high crash histories. Did board members have any other comments or questions before we take a motion to release the safety action plan for public comment? Okay, hearing none, would anyone from the board like to make a motion to release the safety action plan for public comment?
I'll make the motion. Derek Ann Sullivan.
Thank you, Ann.
I'll second Mark Pimerini.
Thank you, Mark. Brian, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Eric Schuster, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Mark Pimerini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
Angela Volk, Mart.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
Glenn McLeod, Subregion 3.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think that the first week of September, we should put this out for public comment. Typical 21-day window. We'll make sure we get it out to everyone. We'll put it on our website. We've developed a lot of contacts throughout this process and a mailing list. So we'll try to spread it wide and far and come back and review the comments if we have any at our next meeting, and then we'll have this plan in place, hopefully. So thanks everyone who contributed throughout the process, and we're hopeful for making a dent in our goals. So thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Just a clarifying point. If this is going out for a 21-day public comment at the beginning of September, we wouldn't be taking a motion to endorse this until the October MPO meeting, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We're still dotting some I's and crossing some T's, doing some formatting, that type of thing.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I think that we're shooting for September 3rd. We don't anticipate another funding opportunity to present itself until the spring, probably. So I think that we'll have to wait until October to officially endorse this. So that's what we're thinking.
I just wanted to track that for record keeping purposes. Thank you. All right. And then next item is updates. MassDOT District 2 and 3. Do you have any project updates at this time?
I can go through the 2025 projects, District 3.
Okay.
All right. The Leominster Route 12 project that was advertised last year, but so under construction. If you're in the area, I'm sure you're seeing some of the work being done. The Harvard Air Road project was amended off. I did, just as a point of interest, the PSNE is either just came in or is coming in this week. So that's on next year's. Hubbardston, Williamsville Road over the Burnshort River, 609187. That was advertised in May, and the NTP was issued to Construction Dynamics on August 6th. So you'll see some work out there, probably before the end of the construction season. Sterling stormwater drainage improvements at Wachusett Reservoir on Route 110. That is project number 610659. That's at PSNE. The right-of-way cert has been issued. Environmental is clear, so it's ready to go. That should be advertised on August 30th. Gardner Elm Street, Safe Routes to School project, 610672. That was advertised in March, and the NTP was issued to Amarillo in July. So probably you're seeing work out there. And then the final one is the Fitchburg Leominster Twin City Rail Trail. That is also an AC project. It was advertised last year. So ETNL should be out there working. Hopefully, if they can get the license from MBTA.
Thank you, Ann. And before we move to District 2, I just wanted to note the Harvard resurfacing work, Project 609213, is programmed in fiscal year 26 of the Montachusett tip. All right, go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Thanks, Derek. So this is Laura Hanson at D2. We don't have any 2025 or 2026 projects. The one project we have in 2027 is still at pre-25. That's the Athol Bridge Replacement Project. It's number 612151. I did want to mention a federal fiscal year 28 project in Athol, 608415. It's intersection improvements at Route 2A and Brookside Road. We did get the 25% submittal. It's been reviewed, and we're doing a comment resolution meeting this coming Monday for those 25% comments. So it's a 25%, but we're making progress. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Laura. Does anyone have questions for Districts 2 or 3 on the highway project updates? Okay, we'll move on to Mart. Do we have any updates from Mart at this time?
No updates at the moment. There will be, I believe, an amendment that I'm going to be bringing forth to the MPO in the near future. But we'll get to that point when we're at that point.
Okay, that'll be to the 2026 program.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Any updates from the Joint Transportation Committee?
Yep, I can give an update. JTC met last week. They reviewed the Safe Streets for All presentation, made their suggestion to the MPO to release for public comment. Next meeting of this group, they opted to skip the September meeting and meet next in October 8th. As we typically do around this time of year, our MPO obligations are roughly fulfilled in the spring and early summer. And barring any tip amendments, we go every other month. So the next meeting of the JTC is 2:30 on the 8th of October. I wanted to point out a few different things from the region. First is a design public hearing at Blair Square in Winchendon. This is a significant project in Winchendon. We're carrying this on the federal fiscal year 29 of our tip. So there's an opportunity to become acquainted with the project. It's being held virtually September 10th at 6 o'clock. So the link is in that handout. Also from the Vision of Ecological Restoration, there's a funding opportunity related to dam removal. They're seeking applications from Massachusetts municipalities for dam removal preliminary design studies. So they do this periodically. There's no obligation for a municipality to move forward with the dam removal even after the design work is complete. So if this is a need for your community, this might be a good opportunity. So again, additional information within the handout. One other thing I wanted to point out is, so we have a new MPO member. Cesar Nizzolo, from Lunenburg has stepped aside, and his place is a Lunenburg selectman, Glenn McLeod. He's here today from Subregion 3. So welcome, Glenn. Also, Brian Keating, I noticed you're here from Subregion 4. I'm sorry, I didn't see you before, so I didn't call you. But this is an updated list of members for this group.
Yeah.
That's all I
Sorry,
have.
Brian, I jumped in late.
Okay. Thank you for the JTC update. Are there any updates from Montachusett Regional Planning Commission?
Just one, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Glenn Eaton, MRPC. So our current fiscal director is resigning. His last day will be this coming Friday. And within a couple of business days of his receipt of resignation, we advertised internally. We have an internal a posting policy for 14 days. So that's the status, and I'll keep the MPO informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. All right. Are there any other updates from board members at this time? Okay. On to administrative matters, I believe the next MPO meeting is tentatively scheduled for September 17th. Just double check my calendar. Yeah, so 1 p.m. on September 17th, but absent any time-sensitive business or action items to meet, that meeting may be canceled, right, Brian?
Yep, we talked about that, and Angela, I'll follow up with you in regards to that possible tip action. But typically this time of year, as I mentioned with the JTC, we transition to every other month, if possible, if there's no official business. So tentatively, our next scheduled meeting would be September 17th. But if there's no official business to discuss, I would entertain skipping September and meeting next October 15th. We can tentatively plan for that, and if things change, I can reach out to the group and convene everyone on the 17th.
I can just spoiler alert for folks now. The federal books close for federal fiscal year 2025 the week of the 17th. There just simply isn't time to accommodate any tip actions in the month of September regardless. So any prospective changes that would need to be made to Montachusett's program, we would reflect in federal fiscal year 2026 or forward. So in October. Just wanted to nip that in the bud in case anyone was on the edge of their seat over project changes. We're not forecasting the rest of the federal fiscal year. Thank you for confirming the schedule, Brian. And with that, may I please have a motion and second to adjourn?
So moved. And Sullivan.
Second, Abby Arpano.
Thank you, Anne and Abby. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Knew I'd get you all to turn your mics on. All right, everyone have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you.